Good afternoon, guys. It's going to be our Summary Markets episode 108. As always, we're going to talk about ES, Nasdaq, Bitcoin, Ethereum. We're going to go into some commodities like oil and gold, and then we're going to talk about some names that we're watching for this week. Now, obviously, this week is going to be a little different because we have the FOMC meeting on Wednesday. This is the meeting that everyone's been waiting for to see if they're going to raise the rates and how much are they going to raise the rates by. So basically take everything that I say in this video and understand that once Wednesday comes around, you can basically throw everything I said out the window because the FOMC meeting is going to dictate the direction of the market. Okay, so what you can do with the levels that I give you in this video is just understand that whichever prevailing direction that the market goes in after Wednesday, pay attention to those levels, right? So if they're bullish levels, obviously we're breaking out to the upside on FOMC. And then if we're breaking out to the downside, look for the bearish levels. Okay, well, let's get started. So first off, we're going to delete all the old levels and let's start fresh. Give you guys kind of an idea of what we're looking at, how we make these levels. So first off, you want to watch the value area of Friday. Now, in this case, we could do something else here because of the overlapping value. We have about 5 days of overlapping value. So we could go ahead and take basically the entire value of the past 5 days, which was the last week, right? Basically from Monday all the way to Friday. Now, if we look at the profile of last week, it gives us a pretty much perfect balanced profile. In the balanced profile, you have that kind of D shape, and then you have the POC towards the middle, and then the volume starts to fall off towards the high and the low. Okay, so what balance days typically tell you is you are safe to buy the lows and you're safe to sell the highs because the profile is balancing out. You're kind of ranging, right? You typically see these profiles in accumulation or distribution. In this case, we are accumulating. Okay, so in regards to next week, because we have this profile already played out and it's already pretty much fully balanced, we can look for a breakout of that balance. In this case, you would be looking for anything holding above like 4280 and anything holding below 4200, which we are trying to do right on the close. Okay, so if early in the week, say Monday and Tuesday comes around and we're holding below that level, then it's looking very weak. Now, we have to understand that even if it's looking very weak, if they do not raise rates or the market has a strong reaction to them raising rates only 25 basis points, it doesn't really matter if you're holding outside that level, because if we reclaim it on the FOMC, then you want to look for the value area high. Okay. If we do not reclaim it on the FOMC, then we're looking for our lower levels, which in this case would be around 4160, and then a break of the low into like 4100. Okay. If it does break out bullishly, we want to look for the value area high around 4328, and then you could look for the value retrace from 4350 to 4380. Okay. Let me go ahead and mark this out here. And I'm going to color code these red so we remember that these are the weekly levels. Okay, let's move on to Nasdaq. So Nasdaq, basically the same thing here. We can take the profile of the entire week. We can grab the low and the high. Go ahead and get rid of that. And then we can grab the lower level that we want to watch, the upper level, and then the value retrace back here. And if we break this level, we're looking for that low way back on the 24th. Okay. So all of our levels are basically identical on ES and NASDAQ with regards to how we got them. So the same thing here with NASDAQ. Hold below the weekly low. Look for 1314 and 1302. That is, of course, with a bearish FOMC. With a bullish FOMC, look for a hold above 13.75 into 13.9 and 14.0. Okay. Let's move on to Bitcoin. We're going to go ahead and clean this up, start fresh as always. I'm actually going to grab some overlapping value here. What is going on with TradingView here? It's moving my volume profiles around. That's weird. But let's ignore that. So we're going to grab the volume profile of this area right here. This is the accumulation. We're going to grab the high here. We're going to grab the low. Go ahead and delete that. We don't need that anymore. Let me see if I switch time frames if it fixes that. There we go. Okay. Our profiles were a little messed up. Okay, so below this level, what are we watching? We're watching the value area low here. And then above this level, we are watching the value area high and then the value retrace. And that should be okay. If it goes below that, you're really just watching the old value way back here. Okay, so even with Bitcoin and Ethereum, they should follow the FOMC. So if the FOMC has a bullish breakout afterwards, if it holds the bullish trend, Bitcoin should be breaking out bullishly and vice versa. So if you hold above 393, look for 397 and then a value retrace into 41.4. If it holds below, I'd say like 38.7, 38.5, look for the retrace down to 37.5 and then 36.5 as well. Ethereum, basically the same thing. Let's grab the volume profile of the accumulation here. Make sure you color code these so you don't get distracted. Go ahead and delete that. We are going to grab, there actually is no value area highs up here. What we can do is we can grab like the overlapping nodes. The nodes are pretty strong around here. And then we have the value retrace way up here. And then down here, we want to watch the value area low. And then since we're already inside the value area high here, you're going to watch the value area low. Okay. All right. So get below and hold below 2550. Look for 2530. Below that, look for 2460. Hold above 2614. Look for 2663 and 2700. Final target being the value retrace of 2760. All right, let's take a look at some commodities. First off, I wanted to go over how this breakout was in a pretty stable trend for, 6 months plus. And then you just started going parabolic, obviously, because of the invasion. This was too strong of a move. And now it's kind of pulling back to a healthy mark. If we look at the the VWAPs, if we look at the VWAP for the monthly and the weekly, we can see that this was very extended on the monthly VWAP. The old monthly VWAP high was kind of stabilizing around like 121. We started pushing above like 130 and then tried to push above 130 again there. So anything above like that 121 mark was pretty far outside the monthly VWAP. Then we had the weekly VWAP come in, and once we lost that, it was basically just downtrending from there. This black line here is the monthly VWAP. So we lost that there, went for a retest, and lost it here. Okay, so the reason I'm going over this is if we can reclaim the monthly VWAP here around 113, you want to look for 117. That is the weekly VWAP of last week. And then you can start pushing back towards the 125 to 130. And because we have gotten a lot more volume, it is actually, it's healthy if it pushes up there. It can go all the way to 135 and still be healthy. Okay. Healthy in regards to VWAP, meaning it has enough volume to hold that move. Okay. As far as the downside goes, on oil. If it holds below like 103.50, that would be the weekly VWAP low of last week. Then you want to look for the monthly VWAPs around 98 and around 91. Anything that holds kind of above that low is just accumulation at this point. And I would say it's slightly bullish accumulation as well. Let's move on to gold. Give it a little look at gold here. So gold also had that extended breakout of the long-term consolidation. Now gold on the monthly chart is actually rather bullish. You have this massive bull flag breaking out bullishly. The last 2 months in February and March have been extremely strong, but we had a little bit of a sell-off on last week's high. So same thing here. If we look at the monthly VWAP, it was pretty extended. This was actually inside the March monthly VWAP, but it was way outside the February monthly VWAP. So it was unhealthy, but not to the regard of oil. So once we lost the weekly VWAP, which was around 2020, and then we lost or actually we're testing the monthly VWAP here. It's trying to lose it, but it's holding on to it. So it's pretty bullish here as long as you hold on to the monthly VWAP. If you lose the monthly VWAP, which is around 1980, look for the weekly low around 1956, and then the monthly low around 1900. If it does continue to push higher, you have the weekly VWAP at 2008. That should be pretty strong resistance. And then you have the monthly VWAP high around 2060 and 2064. The bullish trigger here would be 2008, breaking above and holding above the weekly VWAP. As far as stocks that I'm watching this week, I'm not really watching anything, to be honest. Because of the Fed meeting, I do not want to trade any individual names this week. What I'm going to be doing, and we will cover this in Discord, I will be taking a straddle or a strangle. I always mix them up, but I think a strangle on the Fed meeting. I will be buying a far out of the money call and a far out of the money put. I will be long biased because I'm already in puts for my SPY hedge. So what I will be most likely doing, depending on where the price on SPY is on Wednesday, let's say the price of SPY is 420. A typical strangle would be buying like the 30 or 20 delta call, and then buying the 20 or 30 delta put. So very far out of the money on both of them, and you're just looking for a big move because of the meeting. We've done this the past 7-8 meetings, and almost every single time it's been profitable. The only one that wasn't profitable was the last meeting because it didn't really do anything. But what I'm going to be doing, instead of buying the, say, 20 delta call and then buying the 20 delta put, because I want to be long biased because I'm already holding puts, I will most likely buy the 30 delta call. Okay, so I'll buy the 30 delta call and then maybe like the 20 delta put. Just to give myself a little bit more long bias in case we start pumping, because I am holding puts. I'm still holding the 420 and 410 put spread. We have the 420 put that we're buying on April 14th, and we're selling the 410 put for April 14th as well as a debit spread. We're already pretty far in the profit. I think we're like 20 to 40% profitable. We were already 60% profitable, which we went ahead and took some profit on before. So because I have that position, I want to be a little long biased. All right. So going into the week, as I said, I would be very careful trading individual names, guys. If you are trading individual names, I would be watching like the shipping sector. They've been doing fairly well. I would watch the wheat companies and fertilizer companies. Those have been doing pretty well. Also, the problem is the commodities have been consolidating and pulling back a little bit here. They were very extended for a few weeks, and now you're getting a little bit of people taking profit and people trying to sell the top, obviously. So if you do trade individual stocks, look for the ones that I have on my list right here. Wheat, ADM, ANDE, that's the wheat stocks. Look for Mosaic. CF, NTR. Those are the fertilizer stocks. And then oil stocks, you have like Murphy Oil, MUR. They've been doing fairly well. And then you have Marathon Oil. What's their ticker? I always forget their ticker. MRO. For the most part, I'm only going to be trading ES and SPY for the entire week. Okay. But that is it for the summary of markets. I'm going to keep it nice and short for you guys due to the meeting, obviously. We will be streaming tomorrow, 3 p.m. Eastern. I'll be streaming on Tuesday at 9:30. And then Wednesday, we will be streaming at 9:30 in the morning as well. But we will also be streaming the FOMC meeting. So that will start around 2 p.m. Okay. So once again, 3 p.m. tomorrow, 9:30 on Tuesday, 9:30 and 2 p.m. on Wednesday. All right. I'll see you guys there. You guys have a good rest of your weekend. I'll see you tomorrow. Peace out, guys.